Silence is not absence. It is not weakness, nor passivity, nor a sign of defeat. Silence is presence. It is listening. It is observing. It is the calm confidence of someone who knows they don't need to prove anything to anyone. We live in a world that celebrates noise, urgency, and constant chatter. We are pushed to speak first, act fast, and stand out quickly, but true strength, real influence, is born in the quiet. The most profound transformations don't happen in chaos, they happen in stillness. The loudest voices in the room are not always the ones with wisdom. Sometimes the person who is saying nothing is the one who understands everything. In this age of speed and instant gratification, patience has become a rare virtue. We want results, and we want them now. We want to be heard before we have truly understood. We want recognition before we have earned trust. But when we step back, when we choose silence over noise, something powerful begins to unfold. We begin to see what others miss. We begin to hear what others are too busy to notice. We begin to feel things more deeply, more authentically. In silence we grow. In silence we strengthen our roots. Great leaders are not the ones who talk the most. They are the ones who listen deeply. They are the ones who pause before they speak, who observe before they act. They are the ones who let others shine, while they quietly support from the shadows. Staying silent does not mean being inactive. It means choosing the right moment. It means waiting until the message is needed, not just wanted. And when that moment comes, when your voice does rise, it cuts through the noise like a lighthouse in a storm. Nature understands this principle. The seed does not shout its way into becoming a tree. The river does not argue as it carves through rock. The sun does not demand applause when it rises. They all exist in harmony with time. They trust the process. They move with purpose, not noise, and we, too, must learn to live that way. We must learn to stay silent, not because we have nothing to say, but because we are allowing something greater to unfold naturally. There is incredible wisdom in stillness. When we are quiet, we can think. When we are quiet, we can feel. When we are quiet, we can truly connect with ourselves, with others, with life itself. We don't need to force life to happen. We don't need to control every outcome. When we stay silent, we begin to align with the rhythm of life, and life begins to flow through us rather than around us. You see, many people misunderstand silence. They see it as retreat, but in truth, silence is a position of strength. It is the power to choose when and how to respond. It is the decision to hold your energy, to guard your clarity, and to wait until your contribution can make the greatest impact. Silence allows you to tune in to what really matters, to separate signal from noise, and to prepare yourself for the path ahead. When you act from silence, you act from strength, not from fear, not from insecurity, but from a place of grounded purpose. Imagine a world where more people practice silence, not out of fear, but out of intention, not to avoid confrontation, but to truly understand. How many conflicts could be resolved? How many misunderstandings avoided? How many relationships healed? When we stay silent, we give space. We give space for reflection, for empathy, for insight. And in that space, the truth has room to rise. We often rush to fill the silence because we're uncomfortable with it. But discomfort is not a sign to run, it's a signal to lean in, because in that discomfort lies growth. In that stillness lies clarity. You can't rush transformation. You can't force insight. You can't demand purpose. These things come when you're ready, not when you're loud, but when you're listening. Silence is also the birthplace of creativity. The most beautiful ideas, the most innovative thoughts, and the most authentic expressions of our potential are often born in moments of quiet. When we are free from distraction, free from noise, free from the pressure to perform, we reconnect with our imagination. We begin to dream again, not the dreams fed to us by the world, but the dreams born from within us. The dreams that are uniquely ours, the dreams that align with our why. And if we want to live a life of purpose, if we want to build something meaningful, then we must begin in silence. We must take time to ask the hard questions. Why am I here? What truly matters to me? What am I willing to stand for, even if no one claps? These are not questions that can be answered in a rush. These are questions that must be wrestled with, slowly, in the quiet moments of our lives. They are questions that require honesty and patience. They are questions that reveal themselves over time, if we are willing to stay silent and listen. One of the greatest challenges of staying silent is resisting the temptation to prove yourself. But the need to prove comes from insecurity. When you know who you are, you don't need to announce it. You don't need to convince anyone. Your actions will speak for you. Your presence will say more than your words ever could. And when you speak, it will be from a place of authority, not ego, from a place of purpose, not panic. Staying silent also gives others permission to rise. When we stop trying to dominate the space, we create room for others to contribute. We build teams, not empires. We build trust, not fear. We build communities, not cults. Leadership is not about having all the answers. It's about creating the space where answers can emerge. And that space begins with silence. Silence is not absence, it is potential. Every quiet moment holds within it the seed of something powerful. Every time you pause, you create room for the extraordinary. Every time you listen, you open the door to understanding. Every time you hold back from reacting, you strengthen your ability to respond with wisdom. Stay silent and everything will come naturally, not because the world owes you anything, but because you are aligned with it. You are no longer fighting the current, you are moving with it. You are no longer desperate to be heard. You are grounded in knowing that your time will come. You are no longer chasing validation. You are anchored in your values. When you live this way, life becomes less about proving and more about becoming, less about impressing and more about growing, less about reacting and more about creating. And in that space and that silence you begin to build something far more powerful than a reputation. You begin to build a legacy. We must remember that everything great takes time. Trees don't grow overnight. Mountains don't form in an instant. Mastery is not the product of rush. It is the result of disciplined, patient, intentional growth. And the same is true of your purpose. It doesn't need to be shouted. It needs to be cultivated. It needs your attention, your patience, your silence. So, the next time you feel the urge to speak just to fill the air, pause. The next time you feel the need to respond out of insecurity, wait. The next time you want to rush into action just to feel productive, reflect. Because it is in those moments, those small moments of silence, that you are building something much bigger than anyone can see. You are building inner strength, you are building self-awareness, you are building wisdom, and these are not loud, they are quiet, but they are powerful. They are the foundation of everything that matters. And when they are strong, everything else flows naturally. Your decisions, your relationships, your leadership, your impact. Stay silent, not because you're afraid, not because you're unsure, but because you are preparing. Because you are grounded, because you are wise. Let the world rush, let the world shout, let the world run in circles. You will move with intention, you will act with purpose, you will speak when it matters. And when you do, the world will listen. Not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. Staying silent is not about doing nothing. It's about doing the right thing at the right time. It's about knowing that timing is everything. That there is a season for speaking and a season for listening, a time for action and a time for reflection, a moment for strategy and a moment for surrender. And when you stay silent long enough, you begin to feel the rhythm. You begin to know when your moment is here, and when it is, you will rise. Not with noise, but with impact. Not with fear, but with confidence. Not with chaos, but with clarity. You were not born to live in reaction. You were born to live in intention. You were not meant to chase every distraction. You were meant to follow your vision. But to do that, you must slow down. You must tune in. You must trust the silence. And so, my message to you is this. Stay silent, not because you have nothing to say, but because you are choosing to say what truly matters. Stay silent, not because you're hiding, but because you are growing. Stay silent, not because you are defeated, but because you are preparing for something greater. Stay silent, and everything will come naturally. In our pursuit of greatness, we often make the mistake of thinking that progress is loud. That breakthroughs must be explosive. That growth must be visible to be real. But the truth is, most transformation happens quietly. The most significant changes in your life won't come with fanfare. They'll happen in the quiet mornings when you choose discipline over comfort, in the silent nights when you reflect on your failures and make peace with your mistakes, in the small moments when you decide to respond with grace instead of reacting with anger. It's easy to confuse movement with progress, but real progress, the kind that lasts, the kind that transforms, often looks like patience, like resilience, like listening. It looks like staying silent when others speak, not because you have no opinion, but because you are learning. It looks like not rushing to prove yourself, because you know that your value isn't tied to how fast you succeed, but how deeply you grow. This is the power of staying silent. It teaches you to value depth over speed. It teaches you to build things that last. It teaches you to master yourself before you try to lead others. It gives you the strength to say, I don't need to be seen today because I am working on becoming someone worth seeing. Too many people lose themselves in the noise of trying to be noticed. They become addicted to attention, and in doing so, they trade authenticity for applause. But applause fades, trends die, popularity shifts. What remains is character. What remains is the person you became when no one was watching. So take a step back, breathe, observe, listen, let the world rush. Let it scream and chase and shout, but you be still, be silent, grow in that space, build yourself in that silence, because when the time comes, when you emerge, when you speak, when you act, it will not be empty. It will not be reactive. It will be the voice of someone who knows, the action of someone who is ready, and this does not mean you will always have certainty. It doesn't mean life will unfold exactly how you imagined. In fact, silence reveals something else, that much of life is out of your control, but that's not weakness, it's freedom. Because once you understand that you don't control everything, you stop trying to force things. You stop trying to bend life to your will. Instead, you begin to flow with it. You make space for the unexpected. You allow room for grace, and in that space, life often gives you something far better than what you were demanding. But you can only receive it if you are still enough to recognize it. That's what silence gives you: awareness. When you're constantly reacting, constantly speaking, constantly filling the air with your thoughts and your plans, you miss the signs. You miss the gentle nudges from the world, the doors opening right in front of you, the people placed in your path, the quiet opportunities that come, not with neon lights, but with whispers. And if you're not quiet enough, you won't hear them. If you're not present enough, you won't see them. That's the tragedy of noise. It drowns out your own inner wisdom. It drowns out the voice that knows when to wait, when to pivot, when to say yes, and when to walk away. Silence reconnects you with that voice. It's not a voice that yells, it's a voice that whispers. It speaks in intuition, in feeling, in alignment, and you cannot hear it if you are always speaking over it. There is also something sacred about being the calm in the storm. While others panic, you reflect. While others rush, you prepare. While others demand, you observe. This isn't about being passive, it's about being deliberate. Because when you act from a place of clarity, your steps are more powerful than 1,000 rushed actions. You will find that life starts to work with you, not against you. Doors open, not because you forced them, but because you were ready when they did. People begin to respect you, not because you shouted for attention, but because your presence demands it. Opportunities come, not because you chased them, but because you aligned yourself with the kind of person those opportunities were looking for. Staying silent also cultivates one of the most undervalued traits in the world today: humility. In silence, you realize you don't know everything, and that's not a weakness. It's a starting point. The best learners are the ones who are humble enough to listen. The best innovators are the ones who are open to ideas that aren't their own. The best leaders are the ones who can admit, I don't have all the answers, but I'm willing to find them. And humility, like silence, is not flashy. It's not glamorous, but it's magnetic. People are drawn to those who are grounded, to those who don't need to perform, to those who simply live their truth, quietly and consistently. That's the paradox. When you stop trying to be impressive, you become impactful. Let go of the need to be loud. Let go of the urge to always speak first. Let go of the compulsion to react. Instead, build your presence in silence. Watch how people start leaning in, how your quiet confidence becomes a beacon for others. Watch how clarity begins to enter your life, not because you chased it, but because you made room for it. And in that silence, you'll begin to discover something even more powerful: peace. not the absence of challenges, but the presence of calm in the midst of them. Peace that allows you to face uncertainty without fear. Peace that gives you the strength to keep going when the results aren't showing yet. Peace that reminds you, you are not here to perform, you are here to become. Stay silent, not just with your words, but with your spirit. Still your judgments, still your comparisons, still your need to rush. Create space to grow slowly, deeply, intentionally, because the strongest trees aren't the ones that grew the fastest. They're the ones whose roots run deep. And your roots, your character, your vision, your values, those are being built in silence. They are not for show, they are for strength. And when the storms come, and they will come, you will stand not because you were the loudest, but because you were the most grounded. So now, as you walk forward into the world, into your work, your relationships, your decisions, do so with a new understanding of silence. Don't fear it, don't fight it, embrace it. Let it be the space where you become. Let it be the environment where your purpose takes root and your character takes shape. Let it be the signal to yourself and to the world that you are not here to chase noise, you are here to make meaning. There will be times when the pressure to speak will be overwhelming. There will be moments when staying silent feels like doing nothing. But remember, silence is not nothing. It is preparation. It is focus. It is discipline. The strongest people are not those who shout to prove their strength, but those who are strong enough to wait, strong enough to listen, strong enough to stay grounded when others are desperate to be seen. Everything you are seeking, clarity, peace, direction, purpose, it's not hiding from you. It's simply waiting for you to become quiet enough to receive it, and when it arrives, it will not come with thunder. It will come naturally, as effortlessly as the morning sun rises, as gently as a seed breaks through the soil, as powerfully as truth feels when you finally recognize it. So trust it. Trust the silence. Trust the process. Trust yourself. Because in the stillness of your own presence, you are becoming the kind of person the world needs. Not the loudest, not the flashiest, but the most intentional, the most grounded, the most real. In that is more than enough. Stay silent, and everything will come naturally.